We are live now, sir.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, on behalf of all of us, today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue with Mangalacharana shlokas. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namah. Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranadosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Hari Om. Last time, the verse or the shloka number up to 149 in Viveka Chudamani was covered repeatedly, as I often make it a point to remind all of us that this explanation on Viveka Chudamani is mainly based on the commentary Bhashya given by Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sri Sringeri Sharadamnaya, Sharada Peetham, Dakshinamnaya Sharada Peetham. So from today, 150th shloka onwards, we are commencing. Here and there might be explanation in my vernacular language, Kannada. Again, I have to repeat this for the sake of some of the people who may not fully understand the English discourse. Last time, Acharya, while explaining again the same basic core point of Atma Nirupana, he was taking an example of the pond covered by the lichens or the green algal material, so that the water in the pond is not immediately visible. In the same way, the self-shining self, Atman, Pratyagatma, Atma, or the self, or the God as we call, Ishvara, though residing inside our body, since it's all completely covered by different layers of ajnana, ignorance, so the God inside, though it's self-sufficient, self-radiating, all in all, Sarvajna, not visible. So we are identifying ourselves falsely that I am this body only. Repeatedly, there is a core point in the Advaita Vedanta Prakriya. Our basic fault is I am identifying that I am the body. Body here means the mind also. Mind means it also includes ego, ahankara, chitta, and buddhi, intellect. So the antakarana plus the physical body, you know what we commonly call body-mind complex. Body-mind complex. I am this body, this mind, this personality. I am this individual. I have this particular status. So this is the ignorance. This is the ever-recurring ignorance, ajnana, also called Moola Avidya. Continue. So he has taken up the example of a pond in the last. Water is there, but it is not visible because it is covered. So now he continues, Now he continues with the same example. तच्छैवालापनये सम्यक् सलिलं प्रतीयते शुद्धं तृष्णा संतापहरं सद्यः सौख्यप्रदं परं पुंसः. तच्छैवालापनये सम्यक् सलिलं प्रतीयते शुद्धं तृष्णा संतापहरं सद्यः सौख्यप्रदं परं पुंसः. Now what here he says, the Acharya telling the disciple, look, my dear Shishya, Tat Shaivala Apanaye means if you remove the surface green, thick green algal material, if you just remove that from the surface water, what happens? The clear water is inside, visible, it becomes visible. So that Trishna Santapaharam Satya, Saukhya Pradam Param Pumsaha. So when you are thirsty, the water is there only. Only thing you have to remove the upper layer of the algal material and the clear water is there inside. So you can drink it. ಕೊಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಚಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿರುವ ಕೊಳದ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಾಗ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪಾಚಿಯನ್ನ ಸರಿಸಿದರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನೀರಿದ್ದೇ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಕುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ಪಾಚಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೀರು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪಾಚೆಯನ್ನ ಸರಿಸಿದರೆ ನೀರು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಕುಡಿಯಲು ಯೋಗ್ಯವಾದ ಶುದ್ಧವಾದ ನೀರು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಕೊಳದಲ್ಲಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. He is giving that example. Remove this green scum, the water becomes visible, so that you can quench your thirst. Trishna santapaharam, santapaharam trishna. Your ever increasing thirst. Trishna means thirst, literal sense. In Vedantic sense, Trishna means your unsatiable desires. Unsatiable desires, your wants, which can never be fulfilled in life. If one desire is fulfilled, another one will come up. There is no end. Our Gurudev used to always use the word phrase, never-ending story. Desires, flock like the waves of the ocean, which you observe standing on the beach. One after the other, the waves continually move and lash to the beach area. Will it stop? One wave comes in, followed by another wave, like that. So Trishna means the thirst, the hunger of the desire to fulfill your basic expectations, your wants. So in this example, Vedanta gives another two examples. Same point. Acharya elsewhere has said that. An afternoon sky, when the sun is blazing, suddenly the sun is not visible because the entire horizon is covered by thick clouds. When the clouds cover the horizon of the sky, sun becomes invisible. All that is required is to wait. When the clouds vanish, when they move out, the sunlight is visible. That is one example. Another example in the Vedanta, very most pertinent example. The mirror is there unused for so many months or years in the house, so that the upper surface, which reflects your image, completely covered by dust, thick dust, let us say, a thick dust. So when you look at the mirror, you want to see your face may not be visible because of the dust, thick layer of dust on the mirror. So if you start shouting that the mirror is there, I am not visible, my reflection is not visible, a wise man comes and says, clean the mirror. Clean it properly. So when you clean the mirror properly, Your face is visible in the mirror. So the reflection is already there, but you are not seeing it because of the dust, thick dust covered on the mirror. So these are the examples in Vedanta given. Now he continues, Acharya continues. पंचानामपि कोशानाम् अपवादे विभात्ययं शुद्धः नित्यानन्दैकरसः प्रत्यक् रूपः परं स्वयं ज्योतिः पंचानामपि कोशानाम् अपवादे विभात्ययं शुद्धः नित्यानन्दैकरसः प्रत्यक् रूपः परं स्वयं ज्योतिः पंचानाम् अपि ಕೋಶಾನಾಂ ಅಪವಾದೆ. ಈ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಹಾಕಿದರೆ ಒಂದಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು, ಆಗ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಿತ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧನಾದಂತಹ ಪರಮ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾದಂತಹ ನಿತ್ಯ ಆನಂದ ರಸರೂಪನಾದಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮನ ದರ್ಶನ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. 5 ಕೋಶಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದರೆ ಆತ್ಮನ ದರ್ಶನ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. So if you remove the 5 sheaths, panchanamapi koshanam, panchakosha, if you remove one by one, remove means if you discern, dissect and give up ultimately, not identifying with that, it means. So if you remove one by one the 5 typical koshas in the individual body, then what happens? अयम शुद्धः नित्यानंद एकरसः प्रत्यक् रूपः परम स्वयं ज्योति विभाति. So then only this Paranjyoti Swarupa, the supreme consciousness, the Parama Chaitanya, that which is always nothing but Ananda Swarupa, eternal Ananda Swarupa, Nitya Ananda Ekarasaha, Nityananda Ekarasaha, such Atma, such Pratyagatma, such self becomes clearly visible. Atma Darshana happens automatically when you remove the 5 koshas. 5 koshas are, as it was told earlier, the Annamaya kosha, then the Pranamaya kosha inside the Annamaya kosha, pervading the whole body. Then Manomaya kosha, that is the main mind, the subtlest, most powerful part of the Antakarana, the mind, which includes Chitta also, Manomaya kosha. Then Vijnanamaya kosha, that is your real intellect, buddhi, which has the power to discriminate, that buddhi, that is Vijnanamaya kosha. Then ultimately Anandamaya kosha. Anandamaya kosha is due to ajnana, due to tamas. You always feel it during your deep sleep. So that Anandamaya kosha, which is temporary, not a permanent ananda, it is similar to real ananda, but not real ananda at all. So these 5 sheaths, when you discard one by one, thinking, making sure by our viveka, by our self-inquiry, by reflection, by manana, by constant manana, by following the advice of the Sadguru, by doing intensive sadhana with a determined effort, when you discard one by one, then ultimate Atma Darshana, the God residing inside our own body, the God residing in our heart cave becomes totally visible. That means you will know your reality. Ultimately, you will know that I am that Ishvara itself. I am that Atma itself, you will know. I am that Paramatma itself. I am that Brahma Vastu itself. That again and again Vedanta says, Upanishads say, the Bhashya given by Acharya, Shankara Bhagavatpada, repeatedly say It is not intellectual perception. It is not intellectual understanding. By simply saying, yes, I know I am Brahman, you will never realize yourself. By simply telling others over a mic in lectures, look, Aham Brahmasmi. I am that, I am really that Atma. By saying like that, you will never know Atma. That happens by our Shraddha, conviction, constant meditation, constant sadhana, and by giving up all the paraphernalia, the ego factor, the mind, everything, all associated with the mind, the feelings of raga, passion, lust, giving up raga, giving up moha, giving up attachment one by one, giving up krodha, anger, then the dvesha, hatredness. See, until I give up raga and dvesha, this realization will not happen by itself, because it happens by the grace of God Himself, who is nothing but Atma, who is nothing but Brahma Padartha, who is nothing but the Pratyagatma inside me. So ultimately, body consciousness is lost. The ego is lost. Ahankara is lost. Then you will come to a condition, a state that you are absolutely nobody. You are a big zero. Whatever is there, that is nothing but Brahma Padartha. The same Atma, the same Ishvara, the same God who is inside is pervading outside in the entire form of the creation. He himself is responsible for the creation. He himself appears in the varied forms of animate and inanimate things and the universe, stars and everything, the planets, everything. So the whole manifestation, the whole creation is nothing but ultimately Brahma Padartha appearing in different ways due to its own Maya Shakti or Moola Prakriti. So this is a perception called direct experience, direct anubhava, direct. That is in Vedanta, it is called aparoksha anubhuti. Aparoksha means a direct, not indirect. Indirect means by reading the book, by listening to the lecture. For example, I am telling you, look, you are not the person who you think you are. You are not the male individual or a female individual. You are not a man or a woman. You are not a sannyasi or a brahmachari. You are not a big officer. You are not a IAS officer. You are not a billionaire, multi-millionaire. You are not a poor fellow. You are beyond that. You are the pure Atma Swarupa. If I say like that, you will nod your head. Yes, yes. This person sitting in front of me is telling, so I must be that. That's all. If I say you just believe it and nod your head like this, do you mean to say you become realized? No. That happens by the grace of Guru or the Sadguru or the God himself. Or by the grace of Atma at a particular time, it happens by itself. It happens without your knowledge, provided you follow all these instructions correctly. When the heart becomes totally pure, purer and purer and purer, in Vedanta it is called Chitta Shuddhi. Acharya number of times has said. So it is also called, in the modern language, inner transformation. So many beautiful words are used nowadays to convey the meaning to the audience in the English language. So many books are there. So the inner transformation, until it happens, it may happen today, it may happen tomorrow. It may happen after 1 year or 10 years. It may happen after 20 years. It may happen at the time of your death. It may not even happen in this birth at all. It may happen in the next birth. So, what is that we have to remember? We have to simply surrender our ego and everything to God Himself. Total surrender means leave it to Him. He knows what to give, when to give. Only He knows when to bless, when to show His real self, when to turn you to the reality, when to remove all your ignorance. Only He knows. So that is the point here. That is why Vedanta is very tough, people say. All Mahatmans vouch for that. Vedanta is not for all. Spiritual journey is not for all. It is a very tough journey. It is the journey full of ups and downs, full of obstacles and problems. The road is not clear, full of thorns. The Maya will prevent you. The Mula Prakriti will prevent you to reach towards God. That is the point. So the journey of this pilgrimage towards perfection is so difficult, so horrible. That is why in Kathopanishad, there is one beautiful mantra. That mantra, first part, was used by Swami Vivekananda in early 1890s to propagate, to inculcate Sanatana Dharma, to show to the world importance of Hindu Dharma. He used to always tell only the first part of the Kathopanishad. You must have heard, you might have heard the famous quote. People think that it is a quote by Swami Vivekananda. It is not his quote. Swami Vivekananda has taken it from Kathopanishad. What he said simply, Uttishtatah Jagratah Prapya Varannibodata. The famous quote by Vivekananda. Books will write. There are a number of such books. Swami Vivekananda said this. Uttishthata Jagrata Prapya Varannibodata. And English translation you might have heard in some books. It means arise and awake. Stop not till you reach the goal. Uttishtatah jagratah prapya varannibodata. Arise and awake. Stop not till you reach the goal. Now, coming to the same Kathopanishad, on this point of Vedanta, how spiritual journey is so difficult. Let me give you the complete, that particular mantra itself. It says in Kathopanishad, it says, Uttishtatah jagrata prapya varannibodata kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. Next line, next part. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. It means you get up, open your eyes, arise, awake yourself, get up, don't stop. Jagrata means you understand your basic primary purpose of the life. Jagrata. Varan prapya nibodata. Varan prapya is the key word in the Kathopanishad. Varan means a realized master. Varan means a realized Brahmajnani. Varan means the Sadguru himself, who is Atmajnana Sampanna. Approach a Sadguru, fall at his feet, surrender yourself. Nibodata. Prapya Varan. After obtaining such a Sadguru by your Purva Janma Punya Bala, he will impart the jnana to you. Then you understand what jnana means. Because of his grace. Because Shurasya Dhara Nishita Duratyaya. This path of spirituality is so horrible, so difficult. It is as if you are walking on the fine-tuned, sharpened edge of a sword. Balancing your feet on the edge of the sword, if you are walking, slight mistake will cut your feet. Slight mistake. So the journey in Vedanta spiritual field is not that easy. Finding a guru itself is not easy. Following his instruction is not easy. Reflection, manana itself is not easy. It requires your determination. It requires Guru Kripa. It requires God's grace. Then it requires fully challenging mind. Yes, I will do it. You involve yourself, immerse yourself in meditation or sadhana or japa, whatever it is, whatever the Guru has said, whatever the way he has said. Simply follow it by surrendering, total surrendering. That is why it's called Kshurasyadara Nishita Duratyaya. It is difficult for all, cannot. So difficult. Walking on the edge of a sword is not possible for all. Kshurasyadara Nishita Duratyaya. Durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Kavayo, plural, kavi, poet, poets. It is not that poetry, poets. In Vedanta, kavi also means a jnani, paramajnani, a realized master, a sage, a santa mahapurusha, parama purushottama. Kavi means all these words. Kavayo vadanti. Realized people say, masters say, vadanti, say that Durgam patah tat duratyaya. This path of the spiritual journey is so difficult. It is not meant for all. It is not easy for all. Only when the Guru Kripa, captures you, when the Guru Kripa descends in our mind, then everything becomes very clear. Everything becomes easy because he is there to take care. He is there to take care. Only thing I have to surrender myself at his feet completely. When you give up your responsibility, shift your responsibility to him, provided your desires are almost zero. You have no desires. You have no desires in life. You have absolutely no wants in life. That is what it means by surrender. You want to have all the desires and planning of fulfilling those desires, and yet you want to have Brahmajnana. The two cannot go together. Very simple. If you have a lot of sankalpa in your mind, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to bring, I want to go there, I want sankalpas. Nothing will happen. So a digression was there here. So that is what Acharya means here. So he says the basic next loka. Acharya says, Atmanatma vivekah kartavyo bandha muktaye vidusha tenaivanandi bhavati swam vijnaya satchidanandam. Atmanatma vivekah kartavyo bandha muktaye vidusha tenaivanandi bhavati swam vijnaya satchidanandam. So in this shloka, Acharya is making very clear. ಯಾವುದು ಆತ್ಮ ಯಾವುದು ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಇವುಗಳ ವಿವೇಚನೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ತರ್ಕದಿಂದ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ಗುರುಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಆ ರೀತಿ ವಿವೇಕದಿಂದ ತನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾದ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತಾನೆ. So Acharya is telling again. What is that he is telling again? Tenaivanandi bhavati swam vijnaya satchidanandam. Swam Sachidanandam Vijnaya Tenaiva Anandi Bhavati. Keyword second line. So only after realizing his true identity that I am the Atma Swarupa, I am not the body. Only after real identification, the direct perception, the direct experience that I am this Atma Swarupa, I am not the body. This Atma Swarupa, neither I have birth nor there is a death, neither I am born nor I am going to die. What is born and what will die is this body along with the mind complex. This body along with the mind complex is born, and this body along with the mind complex will die. But I really, in the reality, I am neither born nor I am going to die. Neither there is a birth to me, nor there is a death to me. See, this is the ultimate reality to be experienced. Aparoksha anubhuti, again and again, the same point in Veda. Acharya is telling that. So the one Vidusha, the wise man, knowledgeable man, the man who is after realizing his real purpose in life, Parama Purushartha, the one who wants to know really who I am. See, he is called Vidusha here. For him, Bandha Muktaye, in order to get away from the bondage of samsara, Atmanatma Viveka Kartavyaha, Acharya is making very clear here. So for anybody who wants to escape this samsara, you have to understand, perceive totally without an iota of doubt and experience the Atma Anatma Viveka, the perfect discriminatory understanding of what is Atma, what is Anatma. The whole body is Anatma. The universe is Anatma. The surrounding environment is Anatma. It's all due to Mula Prakriti, Avidya, the Maya, Yoga Shakti, Maya Shakti, Vishnu Maya Shakti. It has come during creation, it has appeared. And as long as I am not realized, everything is real. Acharya, last time I said, in the Brahma Sutra, Bhashya, he makes it very clear in the concluding remarks in the 4th Adhyaya that till realization occurs, everything is real, real. He calls it as Vyavaharika Satta. It is real. You sitting in front of me is real. I sitting here is real. You are different from me. Yes, exactly. I am different from you. Exactly. We two are, part of this duality. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Till Atmajnana sprouts in, duality persists. Our Gurudev used to always hint on this point. Your sadhana, your meditation, your journey in the spiritual life towards God, always it starts with duality mode, Dvaita Bhava. I means I am this person, I am doing the meditation, I am doing the japa, I am doing this Nama Sankirtana. My Guru is different. He has told me, I want to reach God, I want to have Bhagavad Darshana. So I am involved in my bhakti. I am totally devoted to God. My God is Krishna. I love Krishna. Krishna is my God. See, all this is duality mode. Sadhana starts always in duality mode. Finally, by the grace of the God, when you become realized, then you are stabilized in the perfect non-dual Advaita Siddhi. There is only one. No double, triple, or any number, multiples. There is only one. That is Atma. That is Brahma Padartha. The Atma is called Parabrahma Vastu. That Atma is called Pratyagatma. That Atma is called self, capital S. All these words. So your purpose is to realize that, Acharya. For Bandha Muktaye Vidusha Atmanatma Vivekah Kartabhyah. ವಿವೇಕದಿಂದ ವಿವೇಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದಲೇ ಆತ್ಮ ಮತ್ತು ಅನಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಪರಿಚಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ he gives the example. Next he gives the example to make it very clear again. You know, he gives the example of a particular grass variety, a thick grass grown in those days. I have not seen that. I have heard only the name. Maybe it may not be available now. God knows. See, there is a variety called in those days, Acharya uses the word munja. Munja grass. M-U-N-J-A in English we can call it. Munja grass is a variety. Thick variety. The grass is not the grass you find on the lawns. It is a thick variety of blades, and the entire whorls, outer whorl cover the inner whorl. Inner whorl will cover the again inner whorl. Like that, there are number of layers of the blades covering one layer upon another layer upon another layer upon another layer, just like the flower petals. Outer petals cover the inner petals. Inner petals cover again the inner layer of the petals, like that. The thick blades are in the circular fashion, covering number of layers. And in the center, there is the stem portion, totally invisible from outside. The central stem portion of this thick grass variety called munja, it is invisible. Slender, very thin, invisible almost. That is the central stem portion of this plant. It's called munja. Now Acharya is giving that example. See, remember, these examples are given almost 1,200 years before. So please bear that point in the mind. Please bear that. Munjadishikamiva drushyavargat pratyanchamatmanam asangamakriyam vivichya tatra pravilapya sarvam tadatmana tishtati yassah muktaha. Tadatmana tishtati yaha sa muktaha. Last line, very important landmark line of this shloka. Keywords. Tadatmana tishtati yassah muktaha means yaha, the one. Yaha means the one. Atmana tishtati saha muktaha, the one who ultimately establishes himself in his own Atma Swarupa, in his own reality. The one who realizes himself is a true identity. Saha muktaha, such a person is called Mukta Purusha. Such a person is called Muktaha, means totally realized person. Acharya uses the word Muktaha. Here he means Jivan Muktaha. He is liberated soul. While still living in the body, before death, he has realized the true nature of himself. So while still living in the body, Acharya calls such a noble soul, such a wise man as Mukta Purusha. Jivan Muktaha, totally liberated, emancipated, realized, enlightened person. So this is real enlightenment. Keyword in the last line. Munjadishikamiva drushyavargat pratyanchamatmanam asangamakriyam vivichya tatra pravilapya sarvam tadatmana tishtati yassa muktaha. ಮುಂಜವೆಂಬ ಹುಲ್ಲಿನ ಗಿಡದ ಹೊರಗಿನ ಪದರಗಳನ್ನ ಎಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣದೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಣ್ಣ ದಂಟನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬೇರ್ಪಡಿಸಬಹುದೋ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ವಿವಿಚ್ಯ ತತ್ರ ಪ್ರವಿಲಾಪ್ಯ ಸರ್ವಂ, ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣುವ ಈ ದೃಶ್ಯ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮವ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಕ್ಕೆ ಗೋಚರವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ಬೇರ್ಪಡಿಸಿ ಇದು ಯಾವುದೂ ನಾನಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಉಳಿತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ ನಾನೇ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವನು ಮುಕ್ತನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ ಟೆಂಡರ್ invisible innermost core soft stem of the munja grass is covered by the layers and layers of the leaf blades of the munja grass. Similarly, when you separate all the layers, the central stem is visible. So if you separate all your sensory perceptions, whatever you observe, the whole world, the universe, the people, living and non-living things, everything, if you observe one by one and think that they are not the real Atmans, separate them. Separate them in the sense you remember that they are not the real Atman. So when you start negating everything, this is not the Atman. The body, no, it is not the Atman. The next kith and kin standing in front of me, my friend, my enemy, no, they are not Atman. The river, the mountain, the park, the forest, are they Atman? No. The sun, the moon, the stars, are they Atman? No. Like that. Ultimately, you have to negate everything by practice. Again, please remember, not by intellectual understanding. Not by intellectual understanding, nodding our head, yes, I understand. No, not like that at all. It is by habit, by force, it has to explode like an atom bomb of knowledge inside the mind, inside the chittam, inside the buddhi. So when you separate everything, discard everything, what remains is a pure Atma. So once you establish in your Atma Swarupa, you are liberated. You become liberated. You are called a liberated soul. You are called a Jivan Mukta. You are called a Mukta Purusha. That's what Acharya says. This is the introduction he is giving for now the detailed analysis of the 5 koshas. Now he comes to the 5 koshas, Pancha Kosha, as I said earlier. Ultimately, he explains one by one and negates that they are nothing to do with Atma, nothing to do with the self, nothing to do with the inner Ishvara who resides inside, Paramatma who resides inside. All the outer 5 koshas are to be discarded one by one. We have to understand correctly. That's how Acharya now takes us into the again depths of the 5 koshas, Pancha Kosha. Now he starts with Annamaya Kosha. Next shlokas, verse number 154 onwards, deal with Annamaya Kosha, outermost layer. What is the Annamaya Kosha? Repeatedly, we have to remember, otherwise we forget. Annamaya Kosha is another name in Vedanta given to the physical body, visible. The body visible to our eyes. The physical body of the individual. I am sitting in front of you. You are looking at me. You think that I am so and so. So and so is giving a lecture or a discourse on Viveka Chudamani. So I am visible to you. So this gross body, this physical body, is called Annamaya Kosha. Anna in Vedanta means basically food. It can be any form, liquid or solid. The food is called Anna, not just the cooked rice. We also call cooked rice, what we eat, Anna in India. But in Vedanta, Anna means the food, That is a matter. That is the food required for the growth of the body, physical body, sustaining the body, sustaining the activities of the body, sustaining the life of the body. Because without the food, what happens? Body withers. Physical body becomes weak. Energy is lost. Ultimately, it becomes bedridden. Ultimately, it will die. So the energy for the body activity, all the cells for their activity, energy is required. That energy comes from the food called anna. Anna. So in Vedanta, anna means food. Please remember. So Annamaya Kosha means physical body. Now the next shlokas in detail, Acharya deals with this Annamaya Kosha. He explains about the physical body. And every time he says, this is not the Atman, please remember. Your body is not yourself. This is physical body. You identify with that, Allah. It is not so. Ultimately, he negates one by one. Deho yamanna bhavano annamayastu kosha annannena jivati vinashyati tadvihinaha त्वक्चर्म मांस रुधिरास्ति पुरीश राशि न अयं स्वयं भवतु भवितुमर्हति नित्य शुद्धः देहोऽयमन्न भवनो अन्नमयस्तु कोशः अन्नेन जीवति विनश्यति तद्विहीनः त्वक्चर्म मांस रुधिरास्ति पुरीश राशिः न अयं स्वयं भवतुमर्हति नित्य शुद्धः. ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದೇಹ ಅನ್ನದಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಅನ್ನದಿಂದ ಜೀವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ದೇಹ ಬಿದ್ದೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾಶವಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಅನ್ನ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಮೃತ್ಯು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ದೇಹ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಹೊರಗಿನ ಚರ್ಮ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮೂಳೆಗಳು, ಮಾಂಸಗಳು, ರಕ್ತ, ಸ್ನಾಯು, ಮಜ್ಜೆ, ಮೂತ್ರಕೋಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮೂತ್ರ, ಮಲ. ಸೊ ಮಲಮೂತ್ರಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ರಕ್ತ, ಮೂಳೆ, ಮಾಂಸ, ಚರ್ಮದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹದ್ದು ಇದು ದೇಹ. So he is explaining about the physical body. So this body, he says, this gross body is produced because of the anna, food, matter, energy supplies, energy supply. So this body is sustained by the food. It is produced by the food, sustained by the food, and ultimately, when the food is withheld, when the food is not given, the body will die. So without food, the body will die. And this body is what? This physical body is what? Composed of skin, bones, connective tissue, fat, blood vessels, organs, then excreta in the form of fecal matter being produced regularly in our small and large intestine, urine being produced from our kidney and stored in our own urinary bladder inside our body. So we are is sort of a baggage. You know, our lower part, the torso, the stomach and the lower region of the body, it is nothing but a baggage of, it is a baggage of urine and fecal matter. Acharya says that. See, we are a walking baggage of urine and fecal matter and plus sweat from entire the pores of the skin of the body. All the time, when the heat is too much, sweat comes out. Maybe in the northern hemisphere, people are not used to the sweating. Sweat doesn't come there because of the cold temperature. You come to the tropical countries, come to the countries with higher temperature. In the summer season, you find sweat. So your whole body produces sweat. And constantly you produce urine. a matter to be thrown out. Constantly you produce fecal matter, undigested food to be thrown out. So when we look at the fecal matter on the road, when you look at the person urinating on the road, we feel highly awed, agitated, as if something unimaginable. A sort of revulsion, in the mind. When you look at the urine, when you look at the fecal matter, total aversion, revulsion. You turn your face this way and walk. But Acharya is hinting that point here. What he says, your body is a baggage. You feel highly agitated when you see the urine on the road, fecal matter on the road, but you forget that you inside you are carrying the same fecal matter 24/7 days. You are carrying the same urine being produced, stored in your urinary bladder 24/7. Nobody thinks on that. You do all the makeup for the body, apply all beautiful lotions to the body, wear colorful dresses over the body, and we try to present ourselves as a most beautiful person, most beautiful man or woman with all necessary paraphernalia in the life. Especially imagine, surely we have to laugh at one point. Observe the fashion shows, most famous in Paris and other American and European and American cities. The fashion show, observe yourself. We are presenting our fully dressed up body. Acharya says, this body is full of purishaha, fecal matter, excreta. So this is not Atma. Ultimately, he calls that one. This body is born, sustained, and it will die because of the availability or absence of food, ultimately. Then he continues that. Very interesting. Purvam janerapi mrutheratanaayamasti jata kshana kshana guno ani kshana guno niyata swabhavaha naiko jadascha gadavat paridrushyamanaha swatma katham bhavati bhava vikaravetta. Keyword here he has used. Bhava vikaravetta swatma katham bhavati. Last line, keyword. Bhava vikaravetta means the knower. That is Atma, Paramatma, Pratyagatma, Ishvara, Self, Sadguru, everything means. The one who is a ruler, the one who is a knower of things. Bhava vikaravetta. Keyword. Purvam janerapi mruterathanayamasti jata kshana kshana guno niyata swabhavaha naiko jadascha gadavat paridrushyamanaha swatma katham bhavati bhava vikaravetta. Purvam janah api mrute atha na ayam asti means this body, look, my dear disciple, this body, your body or my body, whichever you take, look at the body, human body. It was not there before birth. Were you there before birth? You are born in the mother's womb for 9 months, you developed there. Before that, your body was not there. And after death also, it is not there. It is thrown out, it is burnt away, or it is cremated or completely buried, and it vanishes. So your body is neither present before the birth nor after death. Only in between birth and death the body is present. ಹುಟ್ಟುವ ಮೊದಲು ಈ ದೇಹ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹುಟ್ಟು ಸಾವಿನ ನಂತರವೂ ಈ ದೇಹ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಧ್ಯದ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇವು ಹಾಗೆ. And this body jata kshana kshana guno aniyata swabhavaha. This body is constantly changing. After birth till death, there is constant change, transformation. In the body, it is not permanent. It won't remain in the same shape, same type. It is impermanent. Constantly, it is every moment it changes. So, idu jadavat ghatavat paridrishyamana. Acharya compares the body to a pot, earthen pot, ghata. So the pot is visible, pot is there. Just like that, what is visible, the body is also visible. The pot is a jada, inert, he says. Yes. Like that, please remember the body is also inert. Body is a jada means basically inert. What does that mean? ಈ ದೇಹ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಈ ಶರೀರ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಜಡ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಜಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. But the body does all the functions, we say. See, you walk and you sleep and you talk and you run and do all work and you think. How can it be jada? See, this is all the actions of the body due to the Atma inside. Because of the presence of the pure consciousness, in its presence, the body is working. Because of the presence, the body is working. Otherwise, when the Atma leaves the body dies, as you call. So jada, like a pot. So Acharya is giving that example. Like a pot it is a jada. Next he gives another example. Panipadadiman deho natma vyangepi jivanat tat shakte anashascha na niyamyo niyamakaha. Another example he gives. Panipadadiman deho natma vyangepi jivanat tat shakte anashascha na niyamyo niyamakaha. He says, see, if your body were to be really Atman, if the body parts are cut, that means Atman is also cut. Correct? If the body is Atman, ದೇಹವೇ ಈ ಶರೀರವೇ ಆತ್ಮ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಶರೀರದ ಅಂಗಗಳು ಛಿದ್ರವಾದರೆ ಆದ್ರೂ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಜೀವಂತ ಇರ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ. ಇರಬಾರ್ದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಕೈ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ, ಕಾಲು ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಹ ಜನ ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. See, there are examples where the legs are cut due to accident, due to war. Hands are cut, arms are cut due to war or accident. But still such people live without hand or feet. If the body were to be Atma, if the hand is cut, the body has to die, isn't it? So that is sort of a corollary example, analogous example is giving. That is why body cannot be Atma, because the body is conditioned by Atma. But Atma is not conditioned by the body. Body is ruled by Atma. Atma is a ruler of the body, big boss. The body, physical body, is under the control of Atma. Atma is not in the control of the body. So Atma cannot be the body. That is physical body. That is Atma ultimately cannot be Annamaya Kosha. See, that is how he is deriving it, explaining Annamaya Kosha in detail. And at every step, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಸ್ಥೂಲ ಶರೀರ ಅನ್ನದಿಂದ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನದಿಂದ ಬೆಳೆದು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಅನ್ನವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಗತವಾಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಅನ್ನಮಯ ಕೋಶ, ಔಟರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೇಯರ್. ಇದು ಆತ್ಮವಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಆತ್ಮ, ದಿಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ, ದಿಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಗಾತ್ಮ. Atma is totally different. This body is a jada. It appears, it is born, it will die one day. In Vedanta, this point is very clear. Acharya has made it very clear long back in elsewhere. What is that point? That which is born, whatever is born, means whatever is created is not permanent, not Atma Swarupa. Whatever is created, one day it has to go. One day it has to vanish. Everyone agrees with that. Even scientists will agree with it, modern science. The universe is created, it has a lifespan, maybe billions of years. We don't know. Earth is created, it has its own lifespan. Sun, illuminating sun in our solar system, a big star, it has its own lifespan. The Saturn planet, it has its own lifespan. The living creatures in the planet Earth living, they have their own lifespans. Non-living things in our planet called Earth, they have their own lifespans. Rock or a mountain or a river or a big tree, they have their own life. Ultimately, they will vanish. They will die means they will vanish. So Vedanta is very clear. What is the point? Whatever which is born or created has to go one day. Whereas the Atma, Brahma Padartha, Parabrahma Vastu, Paramatma, Ishvara, Pratyagatma, Self, pure consciousness, the pure awareness, it is nothing but Chit Swarupa, pure knowledge, existence. Sat Swarupa, pure existence. Chit Swarupa, pure knowledge. Jnana, Sat Ananda Swarupa, pure bliss. So this Atma is nothing but eternally present existence, knowledge and bliss, English words. They don't come near the Sanskritam language. This Atma is called in Sanskritam Satchidananda Swarupa. This Atma is eternally called Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa. It is permanently there. There is no change. It is neither born, nor it will die, nor it will change. It is imperishable. It remains eternal in the same way as it is. No transformation, no change. That is Ishwar, Paramatma. Whatever name we give, there is only one. Ekam eva advitiyam. So that is permanent. That is imperishable. Imperishable. It has no beginning, it has no end. Neither it has birth nor death. It is Aja, Amara, Asanga, Nishkriya, Nishkala, Niranjana, Nirvikalpa, Nirvishesha. These are adjectives in Upanishads used to explain what cannot be explained. So with Guru Sankalpa, today we are stopping here with a short Rama Bhajan. Sri Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya.